Bottom left missing. Middle. Bottom right middle missing. It's a long one. Good to note these things so that I don't get blamed when someone goes, hey, I'm missing a few screws. And I'm like, yep, you are. Hey, Nathan. Yeah, Nathan. Greg, evening. Well, afternoon for me. What are we at? 2:30 in the afternoon. Rather unusual experience for a lot of you. Hey, Micromage. Alright, so we've got a no backlight situation. A1466. How normal. See if we can tilt this a little more without destroying everything. Right, okay, we're good. Disconnect the battery. The tab's already missing on that. Okay, user data saved. Well, wouldn't say saved, but it's at least if I lose the drive in the workshop, I've got the sticker on it. Okay, that's everything off that. Jim, 2 streams at once. Why do you have to watch 2 streams at once? Who else is streaming? Is it Tim? Because I know Lewis just finished, didn't he? I guess it depends what you care about. Do you care about repairing, or talking about repairing? Oh, the repair commission, right, of course. Sorry. Yes, I'm not being a very good right to repair person, am I now? I'm just sort of like often doing my own thing and hoping that the industry will keep my industry alive. Poor form on my behalf, I suppose. Okay, so we've got a 3437 here. Not a problem. Screen cable looks intact. There doesn't seem to be any corrosion on there, so this could be an interesting one. This hopefully will be a bread and butter, but well, you never know. Declare that sort of thing openly to the universe and it has a bad habit of turning it into something that's not quite so bread and butter. 703. But it's generally nice to have at least one of these jobs a day. Something that will keep your lights on while you slave away to the cold hours of the night trying to solve some other random job. And yes, we're just taking it out. It's already been, well, from the diagnosis sheet or the fault sheet, they've already done the basic stuff and it seems like it is booting, but they need to use a torch to check the light on the back. So if we're lucky, we've got, well, we could have a blown fuse or we could have damaged backlight controller. Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll see. I'm going to say we've got corrosion somewhere on this board. It looks like all along the back here, it's a pretty classic sort of dust pile up. So sooner or later along here there's going to be something that's not quite Chippewa. We'll get that under the microscope and I'm sure it will present itself. Well, it better present itself because I don't want to be spending more than 20 minutes on a bread and butter job. At least not for the repair side of it. It's fine because you've got to do a fair bit with the post-repair work. Like you have to, wash the board, dry the board, all that sort of stuff. By the way, Harold of Chipmunk sent me, not that one, a couple more chipmunks, and we're going to have a check. I particularly like this one. This one is the one that has the connector that I was trying to talk about originally. So it's a proper fair income banana connector that goes in there. Just like that, nice and secure. Without, yeah, this. Oh, that's basically the same thing as what I did. He just screwed his in rather than soldering it, which is smarter. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. The only thing I'm thinking now that I've got this is that one thing I've noticed is when you plug these into the boards, on one side it's perfect, like damn 3-sided USB sticks. So like when it's in this orientation, it's perfect, like, you know, the block rises above the board. But when you flip it over, it can pose a bit of a problem because it's too elevated, and you basically put load on the strain on the connector, which is unfortunate because it's really is the ideal solution. So I'm thinking maybe the preferred ultimate solution is that we have some sort of cable that comes off here and it has a banana socket on a fly lead. So basically a banana socket fly lead. I'll have to see if I can conjure one of those, but I really do like these sort of PCB mounted banana sockets. That is some seriously swish engineering there. Just unfortunate, I think it is going to pose a problem on that sort of side. There is a way around it though, and that is for me to actually have a block of wood that I rest the board on for when I'm doing diagnosis. So, you know, it's not the end of the world. It's a great solution. Maybe I just need to also have a block of wood and everything will be hunky-dory. If this was in a laptop enclosure itself, that also wouldn't be a problem because that's typically going to rise up anyway. So anyway, yeah, it's really good to get these new types of chipmunks that Harold's working on to try and make things better for us all. Even McRams. Alright, let's see how this goes. Yeah, I can already feel it. I can feel it. Yeah, let's see, we've got a test point chewed away a bit there. Certainly there's enough junk there to get me concerned. We'll test the fuse for the sake of being amusing. Hey Miles. Fuse is intact and fine, so we can't blame that. Not today. Okay, SMC's got some issues. In fact, I'm surprised this thing booted. You need that one there, that one that's covered in white. The BIOS pad looks pretty nasty. Ooh, no, stabbed the living daylights out of myself then. Turns out that's just surface junk, so no biggie. All sys power good areas. Once again, this here is definitely a concern. There is definitely corrosion there, but fortunately the way they designed this particular track, even if that corrodes completely out, it's still got a bit of conductivity, but it's something I'll have to look at later as well. So we know it boots, so whatever our problem is, it could either be backlight enable is not coming up. That's interesting how that portion of the etch there is darker. I'm just giving it a good look over now before I start just diving in. Now you can probably see that there is a bit of discoloration here. which kind of it gives me the indication that liquid really did fall over the top of this. So maybe we've got corrosion looking on from the side. Overall, the board definitely is begging for a nice swim in the ultrasonic, that's for sure. We'll check on the side of that BGA in a second. Now let's have a look now. Can't really see anything on the edges. There's a bit of discoloration. So we're pretty much going to replace it simply for a preventative and probability type of measure. Because you certainly can't really say that's a smoking gun scenario. Yeah, there's a slightly discolored ball there. It's not a guarantee. I'll check the actual pins in here. They're all good. We'll check the diode mode as well of the backlight feedback line. And we're going to check it in two places and see if there's a break. So we're checking down here. So 5835 or so. And then we just stick our nose under here. It's a little difficult. Okay, we'll try these ones here, those two there. Okay, so we've definitely got continuity to those 2 points, and this one here might just be me. Yeah, there we go. So we do have full feedback line continuity from there to there, back to the other side. So that's not a problem. So if anything, it's going to be the chip, or maybe one of these resistors. Yeah, could be a few things here. Let's give it a push. We'll check these I2C lines. 4748. Okay, so they're matched, so it shouldn't be a problem. Yep, that's good. Alright, take this chip off and see what happens. Nathan, yours are... I did get yours as well today, by the way. They arrived this morning. And I saw the job codes on them. And I'll probably do them maybe tonight, if you want to be around for that. ANZ. Miles, I think the reason why they have a tendency to corrode so much is A, they're flat and exposed, B, they're intended to be, you know, highly conductive. And I think it's just that whatever they use on, I don't know if they actually do have gold plating on them or not. Depends on the board manufacturer. Yeah, I'd say there's enough junk under there to warrant that it was the fault. It just looks like an all-round bit of a mess. I do also have an iPad that on iPad 6 I've got to do a glass replacement on. But I don't think I'm going to do that on stream. I haven't yet done enough of them to make me feel confident enough to talk and work on them at the same time. There's a bit of junk down in amongst the areas between the pads and where the mask finishes. So I might just work on that a little more. It'll just hot air wick up the excess bumps. It just makes it easier to put the new chip down. I think I saw Pionov a couple of nights ago, Keith, but not since then. No, he was speaking on Discord yesterday. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was speaking on Discord yesterday. I wouldn't expect him to be awake yet. Not currently, anyway. Oh, nice flat pads. And I've got alcohol on my forearm. Let's get a replacement chip. LP8550 I believe. Looks like the ones. Pedro, good to see you. You finished work for the week? Or are you still trying to push up roller doors? You're scamming. Ah, you're on the weekend scam mode. Excellent, excellent, excellent. It's your favourite pastime, now becoming your mainstream income at this rate. See, make sure I get this right. Pin off to the interface section. Looks like someone's still got data coverage. That's nice. Let's see what those values are meant to be. Interesting, no one's put... Let's see, that should be 0.58. And it's interesting to note that, okay, see the test pads on the open board data, they are actually 0.57, which is basically what we were measuring. We were measuring 0.58, so that applies to all of this over here. So we're pretty close. I wonder what the I2C lines were. They're not there. What did I measure them at? 0.47 or something like that? I know I've got the damn chip off at the moment though. Actually, that's what I can do while I'm here. Unfortunately, I'm in a bit of a oversized version of the board view at the moment. It's a part. It makes it easier for you guys. Now this is backlight driver off. Ow, stabbed myself in the crotch. It's not good. Fine. what do you call it, fine microscope tips can be very painful when they're placed in places you don't want them to be placed. Okay. This is a little tricky because the pin numbering jumps around a little. Am I reading right here? Just gotta check something. Alright, cool. Alright. So backlight navel is open. PWM. There. It's interesting, that's open when boost. There's a big capacitor on this line, that's the problem. That's probably going to float out to OL. Come on. Personally, I consider that to be pretty much OL. Current set OL. Yeah, they're all going OL because the chip's missing. And obviously, that's going to be ground. SO is already done. There's not a lot of... Okay. Because most of these pins are probably driving the line. Yeah, we don't have to... Yeah. Sync. Okay, so the clock and data lines are... Probably all going to just be OLs. Yeah, whatever. Skip you. Not really a lot of good, useful information there. Maybe one line, but anyway, we've created it, so that's what matters. Submit. Hey, Richard, Teresa. Anyway, let's get that chip on now. I just thought I'd take the opportunity to put those those specialist values in, because the ones that would already be on there, they'll be for with the chip on, and probably most people won't really do the chip off type testing, but you never know. There might be that one scenario that someone needs that information. These backlight chips can actually be surprisingly annoying to get to sit down properly. Mostly because they've got some pretty heavy thermal absorption around them with the ground planes and things like that. And these ones, because they are actually proper from Texas Instruments or wherever, is that thing even sat down yet? I don't even know if that's sat down yet. I have a feeling it... No, it has. I must have just missed that. It must have been sitting on too well. Ah, shit. I mean, whoops. Oh well. Sorry, folks. Anyway, needs to say it was stubborn. I put it on too central to the true pads where it had to sit, and as a consequence, it did not do any sort of skip and slide. It just sort of, yeah, it just sat down and said, alright, I'll stay right here. And Nell can go play off a truck if he wants to cause any dramas. Alright, let's put this back into the chassis and see if it fires up, if nothing else. I'm very cautious about these spudges. There's one video of me repairing a Western Digital Mybook or something like that, and trying to split apart the chassis for that, and I have a brand new spudger, and I slip and the point goes into the palm of my hand, and it's like, yep, that only hurt a little bit. It was actually exceptionally painful. And Earl bought it on himself, to be honest. I think he got drunk on the power, and he just couldn't stop himself after that. Alright, let's see if this thing boots. We need some power. Okay, everything's coming up. Let's see how we go. Not seeing an energize of the screen yet, so that's oh, it's 3437, so we're gonna have to wait a bit. There we go. The screen energized. And we got backlight back, so we're fixed. Bread and butter. That's what I like. Nice. Now, of course, if you're a person who is thinking of getting into MacBook repairs, please be aware, this is a disclaimer, that jobs like this are few and far between. For the most part, you will get stuck with things like PM Sleep S4L missing, or the glorious 165 issue where it will spin for 20 seconds and then stop spinning. Yeah, the jobs that you can knock out in 20 minutes are infrequent these days. Mostly because other stores who seem to have a better knack for advertising their their existence or such, certainly better than me, take those jobs, then they butcher them, and then you get left with the butchered remains. Usually the person will request a discount as well, because they're like, well, I just spent all my money trying to get it fixed and it didn't work, so I don't have a lot of money left, so can you give me a discount, please? Hey Nell, you haven't seen one in, well, okay, they're getting sparse. Obviously at this point I've got to take the heatsink off, prepare it for its bath. There. And that will pretty much be, yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for the day. At least until tonight when I work on Nathan's machines, I hope. All things going well. Yeah, that's weird. I also, as you mostly all know, the newish Flexboard view is out with all the OpenBoard data integration. Please be aware that it is not a complete database. It is a community contributed database, and it is actually open source. Pardon me, I should say that the data is the data is open for other people to access. Admittingly, at this point, I haven't created the facilities in order to access that data from the database at this point. Mostly because it's easier to refine these things when you've got it in a contained environment. Once you've got everything settled there and you feel like it's going well, then you can open it up to the greater environment. If you do that first, it just ends up being chaos, and you give up because it's too much drama or whatever, and then the project goes nowhere. But at least this way, the project is growing. I think we have about 5,500 network data points now, so it's definitely moving along. And that includes the iPhone ones as well. I'll just pull that. So there's one person who's been working hard on doing all the iPhones. Pay no attention to the numbers that come up here. It was just me doing a bit of a bug fix. What was happening, this is actually just in the middle of me doing a development version, so the pads are all showing up a bit funny. But what was happening is I noticed on the previous versions, the ones that people can currently get, the corners and the lines for the halo, the green thing that comes up, were all a bit squidgy. They weren't right. And it turns out that there was a fifth point in there, which was, funnily enough, the same. It was a starting point, so it was a full circle. But for some reason, the graphics interface software was, instead of it going, okay, that's the same as the start point, and just discarding it, it was doing something funny with it and creating very obscure looking boxes. Needless to say, it probably also actually slowed the CPU down quite a bit. But anyway, let's see. Yeah, so the person's been putting in all the data, and I'm currently working on how to represent this data in a way that is useful without having to hover over the pin, because obviously when you hover over, you can get the full information there. Like you can see, it's showing the default value, whatever. They have also put in data pertaining to the, let's see, there should be data here for, maybe it's the other phone that they've done it for. 6S perhaps? Okay, they got 253 in there. Okay, so they got the PMU, Chestnut desoldered, TriStar desoldered. Okay, so that should be in there. And now I've got to remember whether that's you there, isn't it? Yeah, okay, so you can see we've got the multiple conditions going on there. So you've got the default at 0.48, and with the TriStar desoldered 0.47. Not all of them big differences, but like that one's got a bigger difference. So you can see there's useful information there already, and it will just get better as time goes on. Once I've fixed out what the heck is going on with those pads and why they're all showing up grey like that rather than a bit brown. Anyway, bug fixing time for me. Alright, I am out of here. Thank you all for watching, and that was a bread and butter job. Very rare these days, but but don't get tricked into thinking that it's all going to be like that. This is the oddity. It's no longer the norm. It was the norm in the early days, 4 or 5 years ago, but then Lewis came to market and told everyone everything was easy, and of course the gold rush went from there. That said, we're all very thankful for what Lewis has done. I am indeed myself. But I just like to blame him for something, since he seems to enjoy blaming me for any mistakes he makes with the software. Yeah, tit for tat. That's the way it goes. Alright, I'm out of here. Until maybe tonight. I'll see you next time. Catch ya.